Hello and welcome to C3D for me. In this video, we're going to go over how to create a grading comparison surface, also known as a tin volume surface. So in order to do this, we're going to need two things. We're going to need a finished grade or FG surface, so your designed contours, what they should be, and you're going to need your as-built surface, or whatever you're comparing to. So the first step is to go to the Home tab in the ribbon. Under Surfaces, go ahead and click the drop down and go to Create Surface. Now, under Create Surface, we're going to go to Type, and we're going to select Tin Volume Surface. I'm just going to go ahead and call this simply Comparison Surface. Now we're going to leave the style for now, but I'm going to have something to say on that in just a minute. So, our base surface, we're going to set that to our FG or finished grade surface, and our comparison, we're going to set to the pad grade surface or the as-built surface. Go ahead and select OK. And you can see our new surface has popped up here. Now, if all you're interested in are seeing the volumes, you're basically done. You have this new tab in the ribbon for your comparison surface. Go to Analyze, Volumes Dashboard, and then under this Add Surface button, go ahead and add your comparison surface. And CAD will automatically generate, your cuts, your fills, the net, all this stuff that you might want to see. But if you want to see a more detailed surface where you actually see where you need to cut, where you need to fill, so on and so forth, we're going to have a surface style. This one is called elevation banding, but what it's going to need to have, if we open up the editor, it's going to have to be set to elevations, preferably only. That's mostly what you want to see. So you can see everything else is turned off. We just have elevations on. Go ahead and OK. Now you might see all these random colors on the screen and think this isn't very helpful. And that's right. We're going to have to make a few tweaks to the surface in order to create a more presentable product. So we're going to have to select the tin volume surface, right click, Surface Properties, and then you're going to want to make sure you're on this Analysis tab. And it should default to all of this. We're going to want to have elevations. The legend you don't need to worry about. You can create one later if you want to make a nice, automatic little table to show all of these bands. For ranges, we're going to create ranges by number of ranges. You could do whatever you like. I like the automatic 8 ranges. Go ahead and hit this down arrow to create those. Now, I'm not sure how it does it exactly, but CAD does generate 8 ranges for you, but they're not very useful either, so we will have to go through and edit these minimum and maximum elevations into something that's a little more legible. Now, these are the ranges I typically set it to. It goes 3/10 to 1 foot to 3 feet to 5 feet. Getting more red as we get higher, and going blue and then purple as we get lower. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply and we'll see what that looks like. There we go. That looks like something that's a little bit neater. Now, let's go ahead and see what this surface is actually doing. So I've gone ahead and added 2 spot elevations, one for FG, one for our as-built surface. And you can see, looking at the numbers, we're about 6/10 high on the as-built compared to our design or FG surface. Now, if we add a spot elevation label for the comparison surface, you can see what it's doing. So you can see from this label that the elevation to the comparison surface is set to 6/100ths, so the delta between the FG and the as-built. Now if we take all these labels and we move them around, we can see that everything's updating automatically. So you can see the comparison between the FG and the as-built. Let's just look at one more spot. Let's look at a high spot maybe. Here we go, yellow, high spot. Yep, and we're up a little bit over 3/10. Now, if you don't want to just add, 100 different spot elevation labels, there is a function that will kind of generally label the entire surface and give you a good idea of what we're looking at. So, under our labels, annotate, add labels, we're going to want to go to Surface, Under the label type, we're going to do spot elevations on grid, and then select your spot elevation label style and marker style that works for you. So we're going to go ahead and add, and I'm going to hit enter to select it from a list. I'm going to do the comparison surface, and so this will ask you to do a grid base point, and that's the point to the bottom left of where you want to work. So here's our limits here, so we're going to want to click right about down here. Grid rotation if you want any rotation. I don't, so I'm going to go ahead and select 0. Spacing. So it's going to ask you for the X and Y spacing, and these are just basically the distance it's creating between the spot elevation labels. So I'm going to say, let's say we want a 20 foot by 20 foot grid. And now we select the top right location. Let's just go way up here so we're sure we're covering it, and click. And it'll ask you to confirm. Do you want to change the size? Nope. So I'm going to hit enter. And now if we zoom in, we can see it gave us a 20 foot by 20 foot grid of spot elevations. So you could just generally see how close the as-built grading is to the design grading. I'm going to go over one last tool that you might find helpful. So it's going back to that legend we saw earlier. So in order to pull up a legend, we're going to go to Add Tables and Add Surface Legend Table. Now select a surface. I'm going to select the comparison surface. And for the table type, we do want to see the elevations. So I'm going to go ahead and select E for elevations. And we want it to be dynamic in case there's any updates. It'll automatically update. So select the corner. And here you can see it gives us the ranges with the elevations, and it'll also tell you the approximate square footage area. So you can see just how much is high, just how much is low, just how much is right about in the middle. And that'll just about do it for the grading comparison surfaces. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.